Right, hello, it's your boy, Connell, and this is the Utanium. I'm gonna set this to, there we go, K-pop. So, today we're discussing K-pop, the good side, the bad side, and we'll touch a little bit on BTS at the end, I suppose, although that could change with time. You'll just have to watch and find out, I suppose. Just real quick before we start, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Maybe hit the like button if you think this video is going to go well. You can always change your opinion at the end, that is. Start a conversation in the comments below. I'd very much love to converse with the mysterious people watching my videos. That would be nice. I've stalled for too long. Let's move into it. So, there's a lot of negatives that are thrown about when it comes to the word K-pop, whether that be industry or fan bases or some combination of both. A lot of the time it is a combination of both, just with general enabling being a massive problem from both aspects. You have K-pop stans who stan the company more than the groups in which they control, would be the word, and you have big corporations feeding off this culture of teenagers who need this validation, or as if they know their idols. That was probably worded very poorly, and I apologize profusely. But let's start with the industry. So, the industry is widely known for being, dogmatic in its approach. That's about as articulately as I can word that while still being relatively nice. It's not entirely dogmatic and militaristic, but a lot of the companies are, especially the big three, that being YG, SM, and JYP. JYP's like the least villainous of the lot, I would say. They certainly have the most equal sharing between artist and company when it comes to the profits. SM's is something ridiculous, like 5%. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was what it was the last I checked. It was stupid little money. So yes, it's widely known for being essentially a military boot camp, but for entertainment, as shown on the 9 Muses documentary done on BBC One. That's on YouTube, you can look at it. They're not great conditions. In fact, actually the leader, Sarah Ryu of 9 Muses, is now a YouTuber, so check her out. She's pretty nifty, and it can be mentally tolling on their trainees, especially given that it's promises of essentially a better life with more fame and money than you could ask for, only for a good 90% of the trainees not to make it into the groups in the first place. And out of every 100 groups or so that would debut a year, very few of them actually make it past the 2-year mark. It's a ridiculously competitive environment. One of my personal favourite groups, Dreamcatcher, been about for quite a while, never won anything. But it's because their music style doesn't fit with the normality of Korea, and I think that's kind of why I like them. The problems only really get bigger once they move into actually being a part of the group. The rules get stricter, and a lot of the times there is very little creative freedom given to the artists. I usually try and refrain from listening to groups that don't write their own stuff, but that's just a personal thing. I find it comes across in the music when an artist actually believes the message that they're putting out. But as far as industry goes, there's a lot worse that I could talk about. Sex scandals, the way they treat their idols. In that sense, a lot of it's not good, but there are videos that do a much better job of explaining it than I ever could. If you do want me to make a video sort of going over all of the actual negative aspects of the industry, I could do that, but that would be an undertaking, so it might take a while to put out. Now, moving on to K-pop stans. The worst thing they're known for is when a celebrity dies posting a fan cam, which is a video of one of the members of a group that they like. That's there for a reason, dancing, and they'll write something along the lines of, oh well, maybe if they stand insert group name here, they wouldn't have died, and that annoys people to no end. Well, insider information for everyone watching, usually they're not stans of that group. In fact, sometimes they're not stans of K-pop whatsoever. It's sort of a tactic to defame an artist or its fan base, and it's quite petty and silly, I would take it with a grain of salt every time you see it. I've been holding this for quite a while, now my hand's sweaty. So that's just... Yes, I shilled. What are you going to do about it? But yes, pay no mind to it. It's a very, very, very small percentage of K-pop fans will actually do this. They say a few bad apples ruin the bunch. It just so happens it's a big, big bunch. Therefore, the few that do go rotten do amount for maybe a couple 100,000. But overall, that's a very small, small thing. And it happens in very isolated groups. Another thing that they're known for is essentially brutalizing idols. And that brings me on to the next point, which is, I said there was a combination of both the industry and stans that can negatively impact the mental health of the respective artists. And that took a turn recently and has been getting worse since about 2017 of idols taking their own lives. A combination of abuse from online and the stress of being in the industry as a whole can get too much for some people. So the takeaway from this section is be nice to people. You've got no reason not to be. So we'll move on to the good. Nice segue in from being nice, I suppose. Recently fan cams have done a loop-de-loop. Basically, fan cams have been instrumental in the Black Lives Matter movement, online at least, which is baffling for me to say, but they've taken down many whistleblowing apps for touts to tell on protesters so the police can get them, and just flooded it with fan cams. The thing got taken down like an hour later. It was beautiful, taking over racist hashtags. It's all been quite fun, and very recently BTS donated $1 million to the movement, and fans matched it within 24 hours and are planning to double it. You'll find a lot of instances like this of artists or a group supporting a charitable cause and then the fans going above and beyond to, I guess, make their idols proud, which, you know, it's one of the positive things that has come from it. On a smaller scale, it doesn't really get talked about as much because it's not as headline worthy as the BTS army donate $1.4 million to charity in their name. The interactions between members of each individual fandom as a whole, they're not bad, to be honest. Once a month, every fandom has a thing called a selfie day, where they will take 2 photos of themselves, pair it with 2 photos of their idol of choice, or bias, using the lingo, and they basically just get gassed up by their peers. It's quite nice, and I've seen it help a lot of people out who are struggling with confidence issues. Generally speaking, from what I've seen, it's a very supportive community. There are negative things that go on with it, but that's the same with anything. It's the stigma of the title, really, at the heart of it. So, as well, like I said, some artists have very little autonomy when it comes to their music. That's changing quite a bit, and it really comes down to the success of BTS. So industry insiders are trying to figure out why the likes of BTS are so big. And a lot of it comes down to the fact that they write themselves, and they write about things that they care about, and that sort of translates to their audience. They're also a bit of an underdog story, so it's not exactly something that can be replicated within other K-pop groups, coming from possibly the smallest company at the time, only to win some of the biggest awards that you can in that industry. Of course, there are other YouTube videos, as I've said before, with other topics that discuss this at length. A personal favourite of mine, if you want to sort of go in depth with BTS as a whole, Celeste. Quite a good YouTuber. Of course, I haven't seen a lot of her stuff in a while. I've sort of teetered off from the K-pop scene just because I was busy with other things. But yes, BTS as a whole set a precedent, essentially, and that's being followed through with, from what I can gather, quite a bit. Now, this was a bit of a shorter video for what the topic entails. It's really just a tester for if I should go full-blown, a documentary style for something like this. If you guys want to see it, I'll try my hardest to do it, but again, it's a smaller video. It's just to sort of introduce some people to the channel that maybe wouldn't have seen it otherwise. I'm hoping to do stuff along these lines my voice is all warbly, it's because I've said a lot of this stuff quite a bit already in the past hour and a half. But yes, if you did enjoy this topic and sort of how I covered it, let me know. I'll try and do stuff more in a similar light to it. So, if you enjoyed the video and you would like to see more of me, hit the subscribe button and the like button if you haven't already. If you disliked it, of course, the dislike button is there for you. Either way, go into the comments, tell me what I did well, what I did poorly, how I could improve in any way, and what you want to see, because realistically, that's the only thing that matters. So, my name's Connell, this is the Utanium. Good night.